So hello all, namaste. My name is Prince Aryan and I am from class 6. So basically today in this video I'm going to explain you one thing that that is going to be helping you in knowing about different kinds of things. For example, scientists say you that this handle of this axe is 12,000 years old. So how they basically know all these things? So this thing is known by a process called the carbon dating. Carbon dating is a process in which scientists use to know the age of a material. So let's see how they are actually made. So let's begin. So uh, what is the topic of our today's video? Our topic is carbon dating. So carbon dating, what is it also known as? Carbon dating has some other names also. There are many names. Let me tell you three of them. First one is carbon dating. Second is carbon 14 dating. Third is radioactive dating. Why it is known as carbon 14 dating? It is because carbon has different kinds of isotopes. Like hydrogen has three isotopes. Isotope number 1, 2, and 3. I will not say the names to confuse you, but like that only carbon has also different types of isotopes. One of them is carbon 12 and carbon 14. So what basically happens in carbon 12 and carbon 14, they they have the same, their work is the same thing, but there is only one minute difference in them. What is the difference? The difference is carbon 12 is actually very stable, but carbon 14 is very reactive and very unstable. That is the only difference between both of them. Let us talk about carbon dating. What basically is carbon dating? Radiocarbon dating is a method of determining the age of an containing organic material by using the properties of radiocarbon, a radioactive isotope of carbon. This method was uh, developed in the late 1940s at the University of Chicago by Wizard Lippi. So as you can see, this person actually invented carbon dating. So his name is Willard Libby. So he invented carbon dating. Now let us understand what is this radiocarbon dating. Radiocarbon, why we use radiocarbon? Because I have said that it is known as a radioactive dating because the carbon 14 is really radioactive. Like they're very reactive, they're very radioactive. That is why it is known as the radiocarbon dating. So it is a method of determining the age of an object, and it is used to just know the age of an object of containing organic materials. Organic materials means which contains carbon by using the properties of radiocarbon. Radiocarbon is also known as car- carbon 14, the isotope number 14 of carbon. It is also known as carbon 14. So this carbon 14 is known as radiocarbon. So that is why this is also known as radiocarbon dating. A radioactive isotope of carbon. As I have said, it is very radioactive. Here it is also written a very radioactive isotope of carbon. So when it was developed in the late 1940s at the University of Chicago by Willard Libby. So you know he actually invented this. Yes. Now, how basically this uh, carbon dating process is actually working? Let us understand by some representations. Here is our how how this carbon dating actually works. So basically, let me just say you, carbon dating works. It starts from the high altitude atmosphere. So what basically happens is carbon 14 is continually formed in the nature by the interaction of neutrons with nitrogen 14 in the Earth's atmosphere. The neutrons required for this reaction are produced by the cosmic rays interacting with the atmosphere. Let me explain this in simple terms. Here I have given an image in front of you. Cosmic rays enter the Earth's atmosphere and collide with an atom, creating an energetic neutron. I think you must be having idea about atoms, electrons, protons, neutrons. Electrons, these are positive charged. Protons, these are negatively charged, and neutrons, they are neither positive nor negative. Okay, so like that only. Um, what are cosmic rays? Cosmic rays are the rays which are coming from the sun. As you can see a sun image over here. This is because the rays coming from the sun actually collide or react with a Newton. Neutron. So this neutron, what it does, it becomes an energetic power. It gains an energetic kinetic energy, and what happens is it just starts moving towards an nitrogen isotope number 14. Let me explain. So when the neutron collides with the nitrogen atom, nitrogen 14, 7 proton, 7 neutron atom turns into carbon 14. What basically happens is nitrogen 14 is actually atom which contains 7 protons, 7 neutrons. Okay, so when that neutron collide with nitrogen 14, a proton gets released and the rest things form into carbon 14. Okay, now this carbon 14 is now absorbed by the plants. Okay, so plants absorb the carbon dioxide and incorporate carbon 14 through the photosynthesis. So while, like, what is the meaning of incorporate carbon 14? So that just means that while doing the process of photosynthesis, what basically happens is while the plant takes carbon dioxide, in that unknowingly, cooperatively, it takes carbon 14 also through the process of photosynthesis. Now what happens, the animals also eat these plants like giraffe, isn't it? So like we humans are also a kind of social animal and we also eat them. So animals and people eat plants and take in carbon 14. So this carbon 14 is going to everyone in our nature. Okay, so all the biotic components. So now what happens is, if anyone is born on this earth, one day he or she will come to an end, or eventually he or she will die. So like that only plants die and animals also die. So here you can see a very huge tree. This also died and left some wood pieces or logs. So now here this horse also died and left out some skeletons. Following death and burial, woods and bones lose C14, means carbon 14, as it changes to N14 by beta decay. What is this beta decay? Beta decay means as our at the first nitrogen 14 gets converted to carbon 14, like that it happened in the sky. Now in the burial, like it is under the ground, what happens is all this carbon 14 which was actually there, this is now converted into again nitrogen 14 by the process of beta decay. Beta decay is a process. Okay, so now that also happened. So now this is how actually the carbon 14s form. Now let us talk about carbon 14s, carbon 14's half life. Like now we have understood how the carbon dating, like how this carbon 14 actually goes into animals, plants and animals. Now let us see that how basically this carbon 14 decreases and eventually forms nitrogen 14. So let us check it out how it does. Half-life. The time it takes for 14C or C14 means carbon 14 to radioactively decay is described by its half-life. So C has a half-life of 5,730 years. In other words, after 5,730 years, only half of the original amount of 14C will remain in the sample of the organic material. For example, we have a bone of a human being, the skull of a human being. It contains, for example, I'm saying I'm not going in detail, means I'm not telling that it is exactly what. Like I'm saying, for example, it contains like for suppose it contains 10 what? It contains 10 C14 atoms. C14 means carbon 14. Repeatedly, I'm saying, just remember that. So, for example, the human skull is actually containing 14. 10 uh, carbon 14 atoms. So, after what happened? After 5,730 years, this will change into actually half of it. Means after this much amount of year, 5,730 years, it will change to 5 atoms, 5 carbon 14 atoms. So this is its half life. So like that the process continues, and the first half life, like it is like one by one, means half is left. Then after the second half life, like after 11.4, like 11,460 years, only 1 by 4th or the quarter of it is left. And after that, like this, the process continues until the sixth life after 34,380 years, where only 1 upon 64 atoms are there. Okay, so understanding how is the graph going from the top to the bottom. So now what scientists basically do by using these two methods, by using this method and this method, they what they do, they actually predict that how like it is. They understood that carbon 14 is actually predictable. So that is why they predict that how old is that organic material or the sample of the organic material. Understood? So like that only we know that this log or this skeleton of this horse is how many years? Is it 2 or 3 years, or it is like 4.5 years, like something like that. Okay, so this is how basically we know it. So you can also try take the screenshot of all these things. Okay, this is the first thing. Okay, so like I hope you understood it by watching this video, and for such more fun and amazing videos, be sure to like my channel, subscribe, and also share your thoughts in this channel only. I will see you in my next video. Till then, thank you, bye bye, and be curious in all your things. So thank you so much for watching this video.